I'm sorry if you were looking for it. I'm sorry if you were looking for it. This will not be a Russell and Hunter debate preview because we're going to be honest with you. We'll catch the highlights tomorrow. It really is. It is that inconsequential. As Rob likes to say, the 12 people in the United States who have not decided who they're voting for yet might get something out of it. But other than that, one side is looking at one to look goofy, and the other side is looking at the other one to look goofy. And that is literally the point of this. CNN has made it such a joke of it, just of an event.
It's strange, Mike. This is the first presidential debate in since the Bush-Gore debates that I really am not jazzed about. I don't care. I know both of the candidates well. Honestly, I don't really like either one of them, like most of America. So I'm torn. Why do I not care? Why do I not care that one of these two is going to be president of the United States? This is very bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, I know Trump's going to be the president of the United States, so I'm not really, I've already, it's a foregone conclusion to me. What's Joe Biden going to do but lie? Just say, oh, no, I created 15 million jobs. It was at 9% inflation when I got here. All a bunch of nonsense that he's been fed that he believes now. That's all I'm not interested in. I'm just not. The only thing I'm curious to see is that if Trump's going to deliver a hilarious line or two, like you would be in jail when you do with Hillary, that was so awesome. And then, or or if he delivers and to see what kind of energy level Sleepy Joe has and what kind of soup they give him before what they slip in his applesauce before he takes the stage. So that's going to be interesting, and that's about it. I mean, I think the only thing interesting leading up to it was they gave the Biden administration the choice to either be asked the question first or to choose podium placement, and they chose podium placement
closest to the exit.
Did you exactly the one where he knows how to walk off?
Joe, just go left when you're done.
But if you win any debate, if you a high school debate, the first thing you learn, the coin flip is basically like, I am going to retort. That is that you are now in the power position. You let them fall all over themselves and then you destroy them. That's what you're supposed to anyway. Podium.
Yeah, it's not about convincing people. It's
podium
just about
placement.
I have better arguments than you, okay? Joe, gas prices are $4. You suck, and you're old. I'm not. You're old.
I'll admit it. I've lied about my age. I'm 55. My birth certificate is a fake, like Barack's.
That's what I know. Yeah.
He's not the only one.
Bad impressions, everybody. Still the show of bad impressions.
Barack's not the only one to slip one past the goalie. That's right.
He said Hawaii. I said New York. I was born in Canada. It's even worse. Greg Meekin, I know you know what I'm talking about. Why did I leave Canada? Same reason you did. Anyway.
Does that make me president? Kamala Harris? Nope, it doesn't make you president.
I might move to Canada if Kamala's the president. No, I'm not really going to move to Canada. I'm just going to ignore her.
Yeah. Like it's just zero impact on our lives. Yeah, yep. Just absolutely zero impact on our lives. Let's talk about females in high power positions. I came across something and my son sent it to me this morning. And as you all know, I'm a huge baseball fan. Gigantic. Rob did baseball announcing. Like, I am junkie. I love me some baseball. By the way, Shohei Ohtani was made at the power plant. I'm pretty damn sure that when there was a radiation leak, they outsprung Shohei Ohtani.
He's Arnold from Twins. They made him in a little lab.
Seriously.
He's got a younger brother, Danny DeVito, out there somewhere, not athletic.
He set a major league record yesterday, 10 games in a row with an RBI. And most of those RBI were leadoff home runs. Three of them were leadoff home runs.
He's a leadoff guy?
Well, Mookie broke his hand.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, Mookie broke his hand on Father's Day. Anyway, love me some baseball. There was I couldn't watch Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN for a hot minute because they had that. There was A-Rod, and I forget the woman's name. But she just wasn't entertaining. She had talent. She just wasn't entertaining. But it's a big thing by ESPN and Disney to be like, look, we have a female announcing baseball. And okay, whatever. The Oakland A's took it to a new level. Oakland A's made their color commentator, or play-by-play, I don't know which side she sits on, a permanent place in the booth, a contracted place in the booth. Now, here's why we bring this up, and this is not a sports show. But the reason that I bring it up, and it's interesting to me, because I've told you all I'm a feminist. I want rights and ability and everything for my niece, for my daughter, for my girlfriend, for her daughters, for everybody, for your daughters, for your nieces. I want everybody. I want Title IX, great thing, fantastic, love it, big supporter. I am a feminist in that way. So when opportunities like this are handed to a female, like breakthrough opportunity where you are a contracted seat in the booth, Major League Baseball, men's Major League Baseball, not softball, men's Major League Baseball, you need to literally knock it out of the park. You come with everything. You take classes. You go knock on Vince Scully's door and say, sir, just give me 10 minutes of just advice. Do something. I want to let you listen to her right now. Last night in a walk-off home run, the greatest thing in baseball. And I'm sorry, I'm monologuing. We're talking about baseball, Robbie. I get excited. The walk-off home run, we see it as a kid, right? As a kid. You're pretending, right? Yeah, at the plate. Mike Russell at the plate. Down by 2. Full count. Bottom of the 9th, right? Bam, home run. Woo! It's what we all dream of. That happened last night. I'm going to let her announce it for you. Here we go. Come on, please.
And he starts. Blade swings and hits it to left field. I meant right field, and it's above the wall, and it's a 4-base hit.
Oh.
And the Athletics will win. So Blade gets the walk-off, and he sends the fans home smiling.
That has to be the worst piece of sports announcing I have ever heard. Above the wall, that means home run. And yes, that is right field, not left field. And it's not a 4-base hit. It's a home run. And there's zero enthusiasm. She's the person for the entire season.
Wow. This is part of the challenge with, I think, where we're at in America. The Oakland A's symbolize America. We just kind of gave up as evidence of that. That sounds like me in college, just learning how to broadcast. You're in front of this microphone and you're like, I have to talk into it. I have to figure out a flow and a cadence. What do you mean? Like I told Mike recently, about 6 months ago, I went back and I listened to a tape of me doing the news when I was 18 years old. WERS 88.9 FM Boston, Emerson College's radio station. And that was awful, horrible, terrible. I had a Boston accent. I could barely read the news. I had no pace, no cadence. I had no tone inflection in my voice. I sounded like that woman at the age of 18. And that was the gig I always wanted when I was a kid, Mike. I wanted to be the Boston Red Sox play-by-play guy. So I used to do that. I would pretend I was the announcer, all the time. I'd watch baseball, and here's the pitch. The 3-2 pitch comes in, swung on it, hit to deep left field. That's what's going over the monster. The Red Sox take the lead. You get a little crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, you can see my mom putting up a 4-base hit by Manny Ramirez. Oh my goodness. Who says that? Rookies. So the Oakland A's decided to probably pay someone minimum wage to go broadcast in the booth, and this results. And Mike, you're right. The problem is it gives a bad name now to female broadcasters.
Yes.
I'll use another example. ESPN, Doris Burke. Now it's my turn to monologue. Apparently,
go for it. Get it, kid. Do it.
Doris Burke is a very skilled announcer, but she's boring. She knows the game, knows the plays, can do play-by-play or the color commentary. She's just boring. And I think that's kind of what broadcasting and media has become. Boring.
I don't think broadcasting and media has become boring. I think that there have been opportunities given by Doris Burke. Is that who you said it was?
Yeah.
Okay. So Doris Burke and this slappy from Oakland, that you're handed the shot. You need to represent for women all around the world that they got this, that they can handle this, and that we should have had them in the booth for a few decades already. Like why are we so late to the game? That's what we should be hearing her saying. Oh my gosh, yeah, wow, where did she come from? We should be looking her up, going, she's fantastic. Like, this is awesome. It's entertaining. That she has that opportunity and had that opportunity. Because trust me, ain't gonna be no more opportunities. This one had the opportunity to show up for women and say, watch what we can do, y'all. And you fell flat on your face.
Some people do that, right? You get in that big moment and you don't quite prepare well enough, and you don't just do it. Because
But base hit, that's just being dumber than a sack of potatoes right there.
Well,
that's just
the nerves, right? When you get nervous, and you're not sure, you just start fumbling all over yourself. So one of the young broadcasters that I hired at iHeart, a guy named Ryan, his goal is to be a play-by-play guy too. So I have him send me some stuff every once in a while. So he does some like college things, and it's always about telling the story. That's what Jim Nance is great. Al Michaels, we talked about yesterday, whether it's AI Al Michaels or real Al Michaels. They tell the story of the game, right? They prepare. They know the players. They know the plays. They talk to the coaches. So they're just able to flow with it. That right there, she missed her prep stages. Her nerves got the better of her and didn't rise to the occasion. And again, like this is what I learned early on too, Mike. You learned this also. When broadcasting comes along, you got to take your shot, but you got to be ready to take that shot because you got to create your own opportunity. And then when you get that opportunity, you got to nail it. So the first time professionally I got a chance, Christmas Eve, way back in 2001. My boss, I've told the story before. He says, you can do a couple segments. And I'm like, okay. I did 4 segments, a whole hour. He called me and said, what are you doing? And I'm like, I was just feeling it. I was like, how bad was it? He's like, actually, it was pretty good. So because I was ready, I was prepared. I stayed up like all night getting ready for that show. All week I planned what I was going to talk about, even though it was Christmas Eve. And who's listening to news talk radio on Christmas Eve? Not many people, but I didn't care. Like for me, getting that chance in that booth, I will prepare. If I know it's coming up, all right, you got a week, you got 6 weeks. I'm like, I will learn the A's roster in and out. Who are they playing? What are the stats? What am I going to say? What are the phrases I'm going to come up with? 4-base hit.
Did you have one? Did you have Did you have a catchphrase like "Yowza"?
No, I don't.
Hey, everybody, it's a fun Friday.
I don't think I ever got that far in my creativity.
Okay,
I never did play-by-play. I only produced Boston Red Sox baseball.
There you go. Mm-hmm. You didn't come up with anyone that was my line. He always says that, but that was my line. You know, if I was Chick Hearn's producer for the Lakers, I'd have said that. I made all that up. Slam dunk, alley-oop. He got that from me. Yeah. I'd take full credit. We actually worked with someone who does that a lot. Jim Nance does the Masters.
Yes.
And Jim Nance is the last when Scheffler, I don't know what the heck was going on. There was some kind of a delay in the trophy presentation. They did it weird sitting in a room somewhere. So something had to have gone on where they just said, Jim, just keep talking. Don't stop. We're going to give you aerial shots of the golf course. Do your thing, dude. It was one of the most pretentious monologues I have ever heard in my life, but still, I couldn't stop listening to it because it was masterful. I mean, it was just like, basically just like, we're here and you're not. It just kind of had that vibe to it. We're better than you because we're at the Masters, and it's an event like you have never seen before, you peasants, but damn. He is, and we've had that. We're not going to break. Stay on this, and we're like, oh crap! And you got to go. But he did that so much. But when he said Jim Nance, I just thought it because it was it was recent, and damn, that guy is ready for the moment at all time. That's why they pay him the big bucks.
And that's what I encourage the play-by-play guy that I'm advising, the young kid. I'm like, listen to Jim Nance, listen to Al Michaels, listen to Joe Buck, listen to how they tell the story of the game while the game's going on, and they keep reinforcing that story, and that's what makes it interesing. Because otherwise, you sound like this woman. And you're
now, Rhonda. I know you're a D-backs fan, so just bear with me here. If you do want to, no, that's not ripping the. I just know everybody hates the Dodgers. I hate the Dodgers. I grew up with Vin Scully, and Vin Scully is in my mind the best, the GOAT. He was. And if you want to know what I mean, and it's about a minute and a half to watch if you want to Google it. It is just put Vin Scully Bumgarner snake. And you will hear probably the most masterful weaving in play-by-play into a story that I've ever heard in sports. That and beards. Vin Scully does the whole history of men in beards. He's calling the game. He didn't have color commentary. He was the last one, the last standing to do it by himself. And it was just, it's just fun to listen to.
It is. And that's what broadcasting essentially is: connecting, telling stories, finding interesting things that most people don't know.
Yeah.
Putting it in an organized format.
But I was watching, Rob and I are friends with Zach McKinstry, who plays infield for the Tigers. Doing great, by the way. Really doing well. And I was waiting for the Dodger game to start, and I'm like, oh, let me see if the Tigers are playing. And I went on, and the Tigers were playing, and it was the bottom of the 7th or something like that. And Zach was up. And I'm like, oh, this is rad. Okay, what great timing here. A few minutes after I turned it on. The announcers were talking about something completely irrelevant to the game, didn't even mention that Zach was up his entire at-bat. And he got a base hit. The only time they mentioned it, like, oh, McKinstry now to first, and that's it.
Huh.
I'm like, where are you guys going? And it wasn't even Gibby. Kurt Gibson is their color guy normally, and the guy's got like late stage Parkinson's, and he's more entertaining. He usually focuses on the game. I remember Kurt Gibson, I'm going to name drop right now, beat me in pool not once, not twice, but 3 times with Parkinson's, and people were like, oh, that's kind of cool. You let him win 3 times.
Yeah.
Nope. Didn't let him win. He's just kicked my butt.
Yeah. There's no way you're going to let Kurt Gibson win. He's too competitive to allow that.
He'd probably punch you if he thought you were letting him win.
Exactly. He didn't even go to his own son's high school graduation, Kurt Gibson, when he was the manager of the D-backs. He says, you're supposed to graduate from high school. It's not an accomplishment. It's pretty easy.
Love it.
I'm like, dang.
Love it.
Imagine living up to that as your dad.
All right, so let's stay on this, and we're not railing on women here. We're just saying that the opportunities are being handed and just missed, swings and misses all around. No four base hits going on with some of these, as evidenced by Tucker Carlson traveling abroad, and a female reporter decided to just get up and she had him. In her eyes, she had him in the crosshair. She had him cornered. She's going to take him out. There's no way that Tucker Carlson can survive this. And Tucker Carlson absolutely eviscerates this woman.
Dress today. So you talked a little bit about immigration, and in the past you've talked about how white Australians, Americans, Europeans are being replaced by non-white immigrants in what is often referred to as the Great Replacement Theory. This is the same.
Have I said that whites are being replaced?
Well,
I don't think I said that.
Well, it's been mentioned on your show 4,000 times. And
really, when did I say that?
On your show.
I said whites are being replaced?
You have said that before.
Really?
Yeah.
I would challenge you to cite that, because I'm pretty sure I haven't said that. I said native-born Americans are being replaced, including blacks.
Native-born Americans.
Native-born Americans. And Americans who, like black Americans, have been African Americans, have been in the United States for, in many cases, their families over 400 years. And their concerns are every bit as real and valid and alive to me as the concerns of white people whose families have been there for.
Now he's just being kind. He's being nice. He's being polite. He's like, okay, you're accusing me of something that I didn't say. Basically, you're accusing me of being racist, and I'm not going to stand for it. I'm just going to calmly walk you through this and teach you how to be a real journalist.
100 years. So I've never said that whites are being replaced. Not one time. And you can't
believe
cite it.
Untrue.
So we just met, but when our relationship starts with a lie, it makes it tough to be friends. So let's pull that back. I'm happy to explain what I do think.
So.
Well, you actually can't say it because I didn't say it, and I don't believe it, and I'm telling you that to your face, so why don't you just accept me at face value? My concern is that the people who are born in the country are the main responsibility of its leaders. And as noted earlier, when those leaders shift their concern from the people whose responsibility it is to take care of to people around the world to put their priorities above that of their own citizens, that's immoral. And they are being replaced in my country, people who are born in the United States, and the birth rate tells the whole story. They're not at replacement rate. And so the U.S. population is growing because we're importing people from other countries.
Rob and I talk about this a lot. And Rob, we'll come back to talk in a minute. We talk about this a lot. If you're going to debate someone, to have your facts ready. Tucker Carlson is putting on a master class right now on being prepared in your speech.
Bingo. And this is the big challenge. There was a survey that came out today, and this is a consistent survey that's been put out for years. 7 out of 10 Americans, 70% do not trust the media. It's because of questions like that, lack of preparedness, but more so the activism that journalists have started to just showcase. It used to be about, I'm unbiased, I'm here to find the facts, not argue whether or not the word white was used versus Americans. Again, accept Tucker for his face value and say, okay, fine. You're saying that Americans are being replaced in this great replacement theory, that this is a conspiracy put forth by the Biden administration. Please explain that, of which Tucker Carlson just did. So it makes that entire line of questioning a waste of time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because all it is that activism in that journalist's brain that she's going to be the one who finally gets Tucker Carlson when no one's been able to get him yet.
And again, that's the opportunity that should have been prepared for, but not prepared for at all. When she said, "You have said it on your show," this is a quote, 4,000 times. That is one of the most immature things I've heard a journalist say to a major journalist, and it's not I couldn't, just 4,000 times. And she said, you're not speaking the truth. And here he goes. He's Tucker. It's who he is. Oh, wait, we're back there.
Oh, hi.
There we go. Wow. We went down there. Here we are.
And my view is that happy people have children, and a functioning economy allows them to do that. And we don't have that. And so you need to fix the economy and fix the culture and make it so that people who want to have kids can. You don't just go for the quick sugar fix of importing new people. Like, that's my position. And if you think that's racist, that's your problem.
I never called you a racist.
But of course you are suggesting, and
well,
I must say, one of the reasons people don't like people like you in the media is that you never say exactly what you mean. Your slurs are all by implication, and you're about to tell me the great replacement theory is racist or anti-Semitic, whatever. I've said what I've said to you right now like 100 times in public. I hope to, if I live long enough, say it 100 more times. I think it's completely honest and real, not racist or scary. It's factually true. It's not a theory, it's a fact. And the whole point of your question was to be like, you're a scary racist.
Well, I haven't.
And my response is, no, I'm not. Okay, well, how about no more lying in your questions, and then I'll answer it.
Okay, well, this is the same theory, or as you say, idea, that has inspired the New York Buffalo shooting, where 11 Black Americans were killed.
Come on.
Okay, see, that's where he just turns. And if he was actually drinking at that moment, there would have been a spit take. Come on. And this again, she had the opportunity to really dig in and say, of course, your theory, Tucker, your theory was the reason why there was a Buffalo high school shooting.
So it's worse than she's calling him a racist. She's calling him an adjacent murderer.
I know.
He's inspiring murderers.
Jeez, try it.
But I mean, Americans were killed. Like, it's also inspired.
It's not. First of all,
it's inspired one of the worst Australian guns.
How do they get people this stupid in the media? I guess it doesn't pay well. Look, I'm sorry. I've lived among people like you for too long, and I don't mean to call you stupid. Maybe you're just pretending to be, but I've never. I'm totally against violence. I'm totally against the war in Ukraine, for example, which doubtless you support. And like all dutiful liberals, support more carnage. I don't. I hate mass shootings, actually. Nothing I said, what does it mean to inspire something? My views are not bigoted against any group. They're honest. They're factual. That's not hate. That's reality. And my views derive from my deep concern for Americans, actually. Americans aren't having kids because they can't afford to. And nobody in charge cares. And so that's my position. That doesn't inspire mass shootings. How dare you try to tie me to some lunatic who murdered people? How dare you, actually? And in fact, I mean, do you know what I mean? I'd be like, Hitler wore those shoes. A lot of people are saying that you're like Hitler. Can you explain those shoes? Hitler wore exactly the same shoes, and you're like, I've got nothing to do with Hitler. Well, that's how I feel about your absurd, disingenuous question.
Right, so therefore you support gun control?
Oh, geez.
What? I thought it couldn't get dumber, but it did. No, I don't support disarming law-abiding people so they can't defend themselves. So the government has a monopoly on violence? I don't think so. First of all,
yeah, that's it.
Wow. Again, there's that activism, right? Number one, first and foremost, Tucker's a racist. Okay, Tucker dispelled that. Number two, he's tied to the Buffalo shooter. If I remember correctly, Mike, the Buffalo shooter may have been motivated by that, but went into a Buffalo supermarket and killed Black Americans.
Oh, the Buffalo, yeah.
So, okay, it's not exactly like he was killing migrants that would tie into the great replacement theory. So there's that part. And then the third part, okay, then you're for gun control. What? What are you talking about? This is why I don't listen to radio anymore. And one of the main reasons why I left, because I would be driving to work, not listening to the thing that I do, because it's all the same. Like the guy that replaced us, I can tell you what he's going to say today.
Oh, I got the whole thing
tomorrow. I can tell you what he's going to say 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. It's going to be the same story over and over again, exactly like that reporter. Because this isn't just a left thing. It's a right thing too. But that's the challenge is you have both sides that are blinded by their ideologies, and you can't actually have a fair, honest, or an in-depth conversation because everybody's too busy trying to be right and to prove the other side is a racist or an idiot or a fascist or whatever.
$100 she's got her pronouns on her resume.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I would
she probably has them on her shirt. It's like, people used to do the monogram on the cuffs. Remember those dress shirts and stuff like that? She's probably got the pronouns on there. Holy mackerel. Yeah, but again, look, and again, I want opportunities for everybody. I want opportunities for every woman. I want women in these types of positions to step it up because you're making the whole cause step back.
Yeah, be like Barbara Walters. Top of your game. Oprah back in the day before she got political. Top of your game, right? Now but this is how you got to make it now. You have to be an activist because algorithms love activism. Not the part where you change things and make it better, just the loud part that you pretend you're morally on the right side of things. Because that's what I've really noticed about our debates now, Mike. It's like a moral line in the sand. Whatever side you're on, you're 100% right. And the other side are sinners and whatever. And it's like, is this really what conversation has become tied to the media? And it does seem that way to me, that woman is representative on either sides of what we have turned our media into, because at the end of the day, it's entertainment. Like Greg even mentioned, tonight's debate is going to be the biggest in history. Yes, because it's entertainment, not because it's going to change the country. It's because people want to see two old guys yell at each other.
No, it's the World Series. It's the World Series. You got your team you're rooting for, and the other side have their team. There's going to be 100 million people tuned in, but it's not going to make them like the other team. They've already picked their team. Yeah. That's tonight's debate. Mm-hmm. It's you picked it. It's done. I can't, and it's the meandering that this woman did, because right when he said that, I don't advocate for I don't advocate for violence. Oh, so then you're for gun control.
Exactly.
Like that probably wasn't even on her list of questions or even anything to talk about. So she's it's this meandering. It's a lot like this headline. I'm going to read you a Washington Post headline. Guys, this is fantastic. This is dizzying. Ready for this? This is a Washington Post headline. Humans' fossil fuel burning has cooled the planet while warming it, presenting problems in the future. Yeah, they're just going to cover everything. Remember when it was global warming, and then we realized that it wasn't warming, and then we went to climate change. That's why we had to switch it over to climate change. Oh, but at least climate's changing, though. We can all agree. Well, every scientist agrees. Everyone agrees. And now it's, hey, what we're doing is we're cooling the planet while we're warming it. But then it's warming, so we want to get it to cool off again. But we're cooling it, but we're trying to get it to cool again. This verbal or messaging roller coaster is turning people against their cause. I would say that people that are thinking like, yeah, I should probably start limiting my use. Maybe I should drive a little less. Maybe I should get involved in this. And they see a headline like that, and they're like, I'm going to go buy an F-350 diesel.
But see, this is going back to that 7 out of 10 people just don't trust the media. I mean, that is a whopping percentage, about the same percentage that don't like Trump and Biden as our candidates, weirdly enough. So we have a consistency there. So you have to think about this, right? So you have, it's just so incredibly frustrating. The media shoots its own credibility in the foot all the time. I just watched a video on Twitter the other day. It was Dan Rather. I think it was 1982. It was definitely the 80s. And they showed a map of Florida and how in 25 years, 3/4 of Florida is going to be underwater. So let's say it was 85. Let's give them the benefit. Let's say it was 1990. That would mean now Florida would be underwater. It's not. You go back to the famous 1970 Time magazine cover, The Coming Ice Age. They have no idea what they're talking about. And it's the same thing. It's right. The broadening of the language. Yes, money. Mike is exactly right. But the broadening of the language to cover all their bases. So they're not technically wrong, but they're not technically right either. So we've gone from Ice Age to global warming to climate change to now we're cooling the planet while warming it somehow. And they struggle to explain why. It's just like the pandemic. They just started to broaden the definitions of everything. Like, no. The vaccine still works. It still absolutely works in whatever language they created, right? Gain of function is another perfect example. Gain of function is specifically designed as whatever it is. So Anthony Fauci was asked, "Oh, did you do gain-of-function research in Wuhan?" He's like, "No, we didn't do gain-of-function research. We did the other thing that is synonymous with gain-of-function research, but by definition, it's not gain-of-function research." It's clever how they use language. Donald Rumsfeld, former defense secretary, former congressman, he once said, "There are dozens of ways not to lie." And this is what you do. You just change the word around. You use a synonym. I'm not lying. I'm not telling you the truth, but I'm not lying.
Right. Like even the insinuation, I never said you were racist. I just said 4,000 times on your show, you said that immigrants are replacing white people.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's dizzying intellect. I actually have that video. So let me the way you said with Dan Rather. Because it was just too long to bring on here. Exactly. Kind of like that Tucker thing, a little long. But there's two things that are easy to debunk when it comes to what that report was saying about Florida being underwater. Florida is underwater. It's a damn swamp. It has nothing to do with global warming. It's a swamp. So two ways to look at this. You see my cup here. Okay, yeah, I'm a basic white dude. I got a Stanley, but it's full of. I fill it with ice and then I fill it with water. Okay. If polar ice caps melting are going to raise the level of the sea, by that theory, this thing would have overflown about 10 minutes ago because the ice melted. That's not how it works, people. And to ignore that and to keep regurgitating that same thing, that's not how it works. 1, 2, finance, follow the money. It's probably the wisest thing I've ever heard about the whole seas rising argument. I'm not going to get on a climate change argument. I'm just talking about the seas rising portion of this. Fastest growing developments on the East Coast are high-rise condo units beachfront. Those are multi-billion-dollar projects. Do you think a bank would lend a penny to any of those development projects if they knew that in 10 years their billion-dollar project is going to be underwater? No. If the science was true there, the banks would know it, and there would be no development. Nancy Pelosi, Paul Pelosi bought a beachfront Florida home, telling you that the seas are going to rise because of your F-150.
Yeah, but they'll be dead by then. They're like in their 80s, for crying out loud. They don't care about sea rises.
She's 800 years old, and she's going to outlive us all.
That's probably.
It'll be her, Keith Richards, and a bunch of cockroaches in the end. That's all it's going to be.
That sounds like a party.
Yeah, I bet you Nance parties. I bet you Nance hits it hard.
No doubt. No doubt. She loves her some Chardonnay or something. She seems like a wine. Maybe she's a martini type of gal.
Okay, as many supplements as Rob and I take and vitamins, those aren't the type of pills she's taking and chasing them down with the wine. Let's be honest with ourselves here, peeps. Let's be honest.
Go Nance.
You're not taking supplements.
But you know what? I give Nance credit for stepping aside and not continuing to be House Speaker. Very rarely do people step away from a position like that. So I do applaud her for that. But that's the only thing I applaud her for. Actually, I applaud her and her husband for milking the system and making millions of dollars, too. I mean, good job. Way to go.
Yeah, I'm drunk. Yeah, I ran into that wall over there. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, someone hit me with a hammer. Forget about it. Bunch of nonsense people. Any of us buying into any of this garbage, I don't even know what's going on. Talk about garbage. Rob and I are huge advocates of the Second Amendment, and we love our right to bear arms. Some of you might not know this, so a quick little Reader's Digest version of what's called P&R funds, Pittman Robertson funds. Every piece of ammunition you buy, every firearm you buy, maybe your state has a 10% tax. On top of that 10% tax is an 11% tax. That 11% excise tax funds conservation, all of the game and fish departments in every state. That's how they're funded. Okay. We all got together and said, we're cool with that. Everybody, we'll fund conservation. Give us the 11% on top of our gun. California, starting Monday, is adding yet another 11% tax on top of firearm purchases. So there will be a 31% tax total with the local, state, federal excise tax, Pittman Robertson, and the new California 11% tax on top of firearms. So 31%. So let's say it's a $2,000 firearm. It's now $2,600, $600 of that going directly to taxes and an endless hole that the government throws it into. And so tell me who this hurts. Are criminals going, oh, well, we can't just be criminals now. Do you see the taxes? We can't even afford to be a criminal anymore. No, it hurts you and I in our ability in California, California's ability to actually defend themselves against criminals, which are not being prosecuted in the state at the time. It's turning this bedlam over there.
But see, this is the long-term strategy. Republicans and conservatives had the Roe v. Wade strategy that started under Reagan in the 80s. And they knew it was going to take a while. But what they did is they got organized and they found states like Alabama, red states, where you could have a Republican-controlled legislature that could easily pass some type of restriction on abortion. And they tried for years, and they would get rejected in court, so they kept trying. And then eventually a court said, yeah, that's okay. And then the Supreme Court, made up as it is now, got rid of Roe versus Wade. Now, again, we misinterpret the actual reasons for it because we don't understand civics and don't care about civics, because arguing, yeah, it's the right decision legally is boring, as opposed to, they're taking women's rights away. No, the states are doing that. So let's focus on the states, okay? But that's all part of this, right? It's all part of going back to what the comments are saying here. You guys wrote about emotions. Mike and I used to debate this on Russell and Hunter all the time. We come at it with facts sometimes. And people are like, so I don't feel that those facts are accurate because feelings matter. I mean, look, it's happening on all sides. Feelings drive everything. Do you think January 6th was an emotional event? Yes. People got ticked off, ran into the Capitol. If they weren't ticked off, they would have been like, go Trump. But they got angry, got instigated, started seeing other things happening, and started going in the Capitol, right? The emotions drive decisions, and that's the manipulation that big media companies know, that social media companies know. Did you know that Facebook has admitted? I have no idea what their algorithm does. No idea. No idea how it works. They just know it works, and it keeps people on the platform, but they can't explain to you why. Because it's emotional, right? It's biochemical reactions if you look at it on a physical level. And that's, Mike, what you're talking about here is I view this as all trying to manipulate us to get us in an emotional state to react to whoever benefits from it, wherever that money goes, right? To go back to the climate change. At the end of that tunnel is billions of dollars of your money. And somebody wants that money. So if they can emotionally manipulate people to believe that you can both warm and cool the planet at the same time, yes, by your behavior. Yes. Oh my God, my kids are going to die. Take all my money and invest it in green energy that will go bankrupt in 3 months.
But which way are you going to go with it? We need to bring the temperature down. Oh, but the cooling causes the warming. Oh, and again, this is my most ardent of climate change fanatics that I know. The only way, the way to shut down the entire argument, because you're not going to change your mind. There's no way in hell. You're just a climate denier. You're a flat earther in a lot of their opinions, because you don't believe in that we caused climate change. I didn't think we helped it. But the question you just have to ask each and every time, give me the period of stabilization that this earth has had when it comes to climate. It's never been stable. Never. Not once. And, but 50 years ago, it's gone up 2 degrees in 55 years. You're like, 55 years is nothing to this earth. This earth is 55 years. Come on, man. It's like a second to us in our life, 55 years. Not even a second. The earth is like, don't worry, kids. I got it. Or maybe it is just this, and we can shut them all down by saying, yes, the earth is pissed off at us, and the earth is going to go up to 200 degrees and wipe us out, and whatever comes next is coming up next. So, because the earth don't care.
Well, and maybe that's the lesson is there's so many lessons in there, right? In that we can only control so much. We've evolved, we've modernized, we built vehicles, we built electricity so that we can actually be productive at night. We can travel to places faster. All of this has helped our standard of living go up. And the crazy part about the standard of living going up, it's so good that teenagers have no problems and they just create all these mental issues. Here's a crazy stat, Mike, I saw the other day. Your phone, right? Your kid's phone. Yeah. If you have a kid, and Mike, this applies to you, you have 2 amazing, beautiful teenagers, might be the exceptions to the rule. 1 out of every 3 kids in America that is between 12 and 17 is severely depressed. So if you're a parent, you have a 1 in 3 chance that your teenager is depressed. And there was a massive rise in the amount of reported depression and suicidal thoughts when smartphones became popular around 2011. Massive increase amongst all demographics, all socioeconomic status. This is not a white thing. It's not a black thing. It's not a rich thing. It's not a poor thing. It's an everybody thing. So you can see the shifting in how society works because of technology, in our almost paralysis. We become deers in headlights. What do? We don't know what to do. So we're just going to keep doing the same thing until it kind of erupts into crisis, which is what I think is we're seeing amongst younger people who have no clue as to what their identity is, because they've been manipulated by these things, by an algorithm that Facebook admits. I don't know how it works. Exactly. So, I don't know what the answer is, but I would like to try to come up with an answer. Same as climate change, Mike. If it's actually a problem, number one, is there something real we could do about it? Or are we just chasing pipe dreams that wind and solar are the answer, while we know there are consequences to building wind and solar farms, which we've explained on Russell and Hunter? So it's this idea that we have so much information that we can't discern what's true and what's not, which allows everything to be manipulatable. So when you talk about disinformation, misinformation, everything has that ability now to be manipulated, to try to manipulate you to a position, kind of like the journalist was doing with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. But I mean, you understand this with the depression stat that Rob brought up. It used to be, we call it, and it really was keeping up with the Joneses. We're like, oh, did you say they got a new car? You're gonna go, we should probably look into maybe a new car. Right? Now you're keeping up with the world, bro. Now you're keeping up with the whole wide world. You're keeping up with everybody, all these thousands of people you follow on Instagram and TikTok, and now that's and you can't keep up with them because it's fake. Most of it is not real. Most of the look at what I have, look at what I do is all just it's an illusion set to get more followers and more likes. And I could understand why a kid, an underdeveloped brain, because your brain is not developed till your mid-20s.
And so, in my case, not still, I'm maybe 50.
And then they went and broke mine after I developed it. So it's never a guarantee. And so you have these underdeveloped minds that watch social media and thinking that that's the way life should go. And it just doesn't. Sorry.
It's tricky too, because you even mentioned this, Mike, when you have kids and your kids are the last ones to have a phone, they're outcasted in a way. Like, what, you don't have a phone? So there's pressure because every other parent says, oh, I don't care about my child's brain development. I don't care if they have access to all the violence, porn, and gore in the world at their fingertips. I don't care if it keeps them up till 2 a.m. because they can't put the phone down, worried about missing a message or something like that. We just go along with the program, right? And that's that part where I hate to use the Matrix because it's way overused, and it's something like Andrew Tate, that male influencer, to the point here Greg made about reaching Gen Zs and alphas, that there are people like Andrew Tate. There's a guy in Scottsdale who just in your face, take your shirt off. Because there is an absence of male. What are we laughing at there?
I remember that guy.
Want me to take the shirt off right now?
Oh, yeah, take the shirt off, show you what's going on. You can't work for me if you don't have a six-pack. That guy.
Because there is an absence of what it means to be a male in the modern age, and because of what you see in the younger ages and what is expected out of being a male, those guys rise up because they're straight to the point. They're in your face. So we have, like, again, two extremes all created through social media algorithms. Again, going back to this, we don't know how they work. We have no idea. We just know they capture people's attention, and that's what we want.
And you just have millions of people just shoveling content. It's a hell of a business model. It really is.
Billions and billions a year, probably trillions.
I got to tell you, I pat myself on the back a little bit here.
Do it.
I think one of the coolest compliments I've ever gotten, because you're talking about, where kids aren't being taught what it is to be a man. If you're taught to be a man, you're teaching your kid toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing to this kid? This is not the way we do things anymore. I remember my son went out with my girlfriend and her daughter shopping, and when they got back, they told their mom, they said, Mike is raising a gentleman, and that is so uncommon in what we have. We have, they're in high school and one's in college. Like, they don't know any of their male friends that act like gentlemen. Like, how dare you? Like, I think a lot of the kids would be afraid to, like, grab a bag from them and say, I'll carry you. I got your bags. I'm going to carry your bags. Like, I can carry them home, that kind of stuff. And so guys might not even try, but I mean, damn it. I mean, we got to encourage each other. We got to raise young men. Period.
And it's about a balance, right? There's a time where you need to be that alpha male, right? We have it in us. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be alpha females. I mean, Lady Brewman certainly has alpha qualities in her. She's definitely down to take charge if need be. Sometimes you got to, but not all the time, right? There's a balance to life. There's a balance to being a man. There's a balance to being a female. And I think that's not the conversations we have. It doesn't work well in the algorithm because it's not outrageous, right? Which is why we always ask you to help us out and invite friends that want to have these deeper conversations about where we're headed as a country, as a world, because we don't really know. We're it feels like, Mike, we're blindfolded and walking in the dark and we have earplugs in. So we can't hear anything. We can't see anything. We might be able to smell a few things, but we're very limited in our approach. And because of that, we're making decisions that have lasting impacts that are not good, right? These short-term decisions about, give everybody a phone. It's technology. It's awesome. Yeah, that might be true. But once you add social media to the equation at 12, it's hard enough being 12. Now you're adding, to Mike's point, competition with the entire world. Like me, I used to compare myself to my friends Brian and John, two of the smartest people I know. And I would be like, man, I'm not as smart as Brian. I'm not as smart as John. And that was just in my high school class. Imagine I had, oh my God, I'm not Andrew Tate. I don't have 17 million followers. Oh my God, I'm not the guy telling everybody to take their shirt off. He has 2.4 million followers. What am I competing against? The broaden of that is no doubt detrimental in causing a lot of these identity challenges that young kids are having. And I'm not here to judge the kids. I'm not here to judge the parents. Let's just deal in reality, though, rather than trying to gloss over it and say, everything's fine, everybody.
Stop taking calls. We have a winner. Here we go. Who wants a six-pack anyways? They go down way too fast. I stick to 12 packs and above to ensure the fridge always stays full for the day.
I love it. Business USA for the win.
I about fell off my chair when I got back from Costco the other day, and they had grapefruit sculpin, and then Rob knows that's one of my favorites. I love some grapefruit sculpin. It was a 6-pack, and I was like, okay, whatever, let's get a 6-pack. I got home and realized there's 6-pack tall boys.
Oh, bonus!
That's like finding a 20 in your jacket pocket. It's like, what? Yes, yes. Holy moly, yes. But yes, it is. It is necessary. And you're a Turning Point. I remember hanging out with some of the Turning Point kids when we were at KFY, and man, I'm telling you, it does restore your faith. I'm not comfortable with this whole. We've gone from Gen Z to alphas, because I don't like they have not earned the alpha title. They have not, and it's someone that's. I watched this video of this guy and this dad and this daughter, and the dad would say something, and the girl would give it the current slang term. And she said weak person. And he said weak person, and she said beta. So why are we throwing these kids into alphas? They haven't even earned the moniker yet. We tell you, oh, you're Generation Alpha. I don't know about all that, gang. I don't really know about that.
Anything else. So we just went with A equals alpha. Go for it.
Because we went to Z, we went to Gen Z, and then now we got to go back up to A.
Exactly.
Can't we go? Yeah, Sub Z.
Sub Z.
No, yeah, come on, guys. I mean, come on.
Gen A.
I mean, at least we're Gen X.
Mm-hmm.
I like Gen X.
Gen X is the best one. We're the extras. It's like cool.
X-Men.
Although I used to think, yes, exactly. I want to go back to Charlie Kirk for a minute, though, because I don't think he's trying to build coalitions. And I think that this is the big problem with politics, that people just think we can yell our way to influence. It never works like that. Take a look at that journalist. Charlie Kirk is that. He just does it on the other side. So that's great. If you agree with him, that's fantastic. Other problem I have with him, he's backed up by a billionaire. That's it. Just like Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro's famous because they had rich people manipulate the algorithm for them so that they could become famous. It's a vicious game. And I think that I've noticed with Charlie Kirk, he has become way more morally judgmental than he used to be. Basically kind of agreeing with that kicker from the Kansas City Chiefs, Butker.
Yeah.
That women should be in the kitchen. Maybe for some women, that's cool.
Rutger did not say women should be in the kitchen, Robert. That is not what he said.
I need a kitchen to have my babies.
No, and a sandwich. And bear. That is not what he said. Oh my goodness.
What he sakes. That's kind of what he said.
What the media told everyone he said. And he's like, no, he would have been kicked off the team.
Well, but again, he came from a place of judgment. Like, this is the right way. Like, maybe it's the right way for some people. It's not the right way for anyone. You try to put Lady Bromance in that box, that ain't her.
Well, I remember when Chuck Norris went to the feminist rally, came back with his shirts pressed in a sandwich. No? Okay. All right. Just trying to go with the Chuck Norris. There's a little Chuck Norris joke in there.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And my question for Rhonda is, Jen offended. Which generation is that? Because it seems like baby boomers are really offended by everything right now. It just seems like us Xers or just like whatever. But it seems every other generation seems offended by everything at this point.
Yeah, but I don't think that's. I kind of go through history on that one because we always say like, oh, the next generation's doomed, the country's doomed. Every generation said that. Literally every generation said, look at the next generation, we're doomed, we're toast. Except for the ones who was before us as Gen Xers, because our parents didn't give a rat's. They didn't even care about the next generation. They're like,
boomers. What is?
Was it boomers? No,
I don't know.
But anyway, but yeah, the generation that produced us, literally that produced Gen X, they did not care about the next generation. I think that was the first gap in history of the generation caring about the woman. They were like, wait, I have a kid. That's what, remember we talked about that a few days ago. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? That's Gen X. Like, oh crap, I have a kid. Wait, he's out somewhere. I think he's in bed. I should go check.
I think he's alive. He's fine.
I'll see if he wants something for breakfast in the morning. I'm sure he's in bed. It's fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cops didn't show up, so I'm fine.
Okay, boomers are the Gen X parents, that's Ron. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that. Yeah. Yeah. Remember? Okay, boomer. Yeah. That's what I think one of the best conversations Rob and I have had. The okay boomer thing was a hit. It was. It was basically everyone brushing off that generation because, like Rob said, it seems like the boomers are actually complaining about everything.
Oh yeah.
And then, so yeah, I think right where we are, then millennials and Zs are just everything's got to be pissing and moaning about every other thing. I don't care.
It's back to the reinforcement, and this is I'm really studying how language works. I don't know why I'm drawn to it because with these phones, you see a lot more of the same language that you see all the time. So if you have a belief system, so let's say your belief system is you're a Christian and Jesus is your savior. And what you want to read online is quotes from the Bible, quotes about Jesus. Every time you click like, you're going to get more of that. So it's going to reinforce that belief. Now, the challenge is not everyone's sitting there going, what did Jesus say about this? Because there's a lot of people, Charlie Kirk included, who love to talk about Jesus, but don't act like Jesus. That's my biggest thing. Like, Jesus wasn't coming in like, you're an asshole, you suck, you're wrong because you don't agree with me politically. He was like, come on in. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to listen to you because that's where that influence is. And I have a very rudimentary understanding on Jesus, Mike, so you can correct.
Yeah, I was going to say the reason why we need Jesus is because we ain't Jesus.
Bingo.
That's why. But it doesn't mean that I'm acting Christ-like, but I'm a follower. So does that make sense? So, totally. So yeah, for Kirk though, I understand what you're saying. I just don't. I think he does throw the Bible pretty hard, but I don't think he's saying it as if he is. So I think when it does come to his thoughts on college and social issues and higher learning, and he's very super my way or the damn highway. And he if you look at his social media, it's cherry picking the kids to step up to the mic that he can just toast.
Absolutely.
Because there's a dozen that were just probably a decent conversation. I think honestly, if he wasn't backed by those that want that kind of attention and power, I think the social media posts of the ones where he had great conversations with the people would make him a bigger celebrity, because that's what we need as we the people.
Yeah. And look, there's made for moments like the taking your shirt off. This guy we're talking about in Scottsdale. It's just like the Tucker thing wasn't a made for social media comment, but the journalist wanted to make it so. And then Tucker won, because if you take someone like Ben Shapiro, like Mike Russell, like Rob Hunter, and you want to debate us on politics, we probably know more than you because we read it every single day. So by nature of the conversation, we're going to quote unquote win. That's all that is. When Ben Shapiro's like, that's and he comes over the top, it's like, okay, great. You know more facts than me. Whoop-de-doo. It doesn't mean anything. You didn't change my mind because you were a jerk. Jerks don't change your mind. And that's my point. We can't continue to say we're going to be jerks to the other side and expect the other side to be like, yeah, you guys are cool. They're going to do the same thing to us. It doesn't matter where it started. Doesn't matter where it's going to end. That is what I see as the pattern. Is it's just real easy to just take a political opinion, put it online. We see it. We think it's famous. We think it's real. We agree with it. And we're like, hell yeah. But does it matter? Because if you don't win, it doesn't matter. And this is the crazy thing about even going back to the Tucker Carlson. If you missed it, Tucker Carlson was asked about the great replacement theory, that migrants are coming in to replace Americans. It's something Tucker believes. He explains it in that video. If you want, go back and watch it or catch the podcast on the Brewmance later. But you see how this debate goes, right? It's this whole idea that I need to win instead of trying to influence. So if the great replacement theory is real, what are Republicans doing to convince immigrants to vote Republican, that it's in their best interest? We just always seem to cede that Democrats have these voters. Why do you think Trump is going to black voting districts? Why did he go to the Bronx? Why did he go to Detroit? Because the Republicans see inroads there by showing up, because most Republicans have been too chicken to actually show up and talk to black voters. Trump is doing that. And if he can get enough, he can win. That's the key. You go talk to people, you listen to them, you create your policies around what they're looking for, and you build influence. You don't build influence by yelling at people and telling them they're wrong. It looks great on social media and we feel good and we're like, yeah. But if you lose, you still lose.
I want to pull a piece of that out, though. I want to pull it that, is the great replacement theory real? Is the great replacement theory not real? That seems to be one of our biggest problems in society, is that it's one or the other. You see, is it possible that, yes, birth rates are going down, so hell, open the border, we got to bring them in, but is that great replacement theory, Klaus von Bonvillain over there, like, eat the bugs and let the people in, that's not, no, but there can be middle ground there. Like, oh, okay. So in order to sustain our population, look at China. China is in bad way, y'all. China did the one-child policy way too long. That's why they're colonizing Africa and they're going to take over Taiwan probably right before Biden leaves. Mm-hmm. And they're in because they don't have people. You kind of think, oh, China has people. China didn't have enough people.
They got a lot of
that's happening here in the United States, where our birth rates are going down because we said that having a baby kills the climate. And then all these knuckleheads, indoctrinated kids that go, oh yeah, I can't have a kid because it's going to hurt the climate. So our birth rates are going down. Is that possible that part of that is, let's open up some of this immigration, let's allow some more in so we can backfill this? Is that possible? Yes. Is it great replacement theory? I don't know. I don't think, like I said, it's not some nefarious backroom, Soros and Koch brothers going. But in our society, we now think it's either yes, there's a great replacement theory and they're coming to get us, or no, there's not. They're not letting people in. It's support for your side, denial for the other.
Exactly. Instead of saying, okay, there's 12 million people here who may at some point get a chance to vote. How do you build a coalition that taps into what they care about most? Their own economies. That's what we all care about the most. Our own economies. The challenge is just the dumbness. And I find this just to be all incompetence. And Mike and I asked a couple Congress people about this. Where's the nefarious line and where's the incompetence line? Yeah. And remember, the guy from California, he said when we went down to the border with Congressman Biggs a few years ago, or like a year and a half ago, whatever it was, or was it 2 years ago at this point?
2 years ago, yeah.
And he said, I don't know where the line is, but there's definitely nefariousness somewhere. And there's a bunch of incompetent people who carry out the nefariousness. So there is nefarious there, but a lot of it is just sheer incompetence, because what does a politician want? Joe Biden, for example, he wants to win this election. So he wants to cover up all the bad things that he's done. So he didn't want all kinds of crazy things at the border for a long time. So he funneled them illegally into an asylum system. that will never kick anybody out, and we're have to deal with that. But the other problem is, to go to Tucker's point, just from an economic standpoint, you're bringing in workers that don't have a ton of skills, but can do jobs like DoorDash, construction, and you compete with American workers that might only have a high school diploma or maybe a GED or maybe not a high school diploma. So you're competing with the American poor by bringing in labor that will work for cheaper than the American poor, which just harms the American poor.
Sure.
That's what Tucker Carlson's talking about. Is you're choosing to harm your own citizens by bringing in other people and letting them get the jobs.
So it goes back to incompetence.
Darth Schwaber.
Darth Schwaber, I love that one. Solid.
Yes. Incompetence, but nefariousness at some level to allow it.
It's like a yin and yang symbol, right? It's just there's the incompetence feeling the nefariousness, and it just around and around they go.
I love that. I think that's perfect.
All right. Let's get that.
But here we are. Less nefarious, maybe 70% good, 30% nefarious.
I started off hot on the program saying that I probably won't watch. Y'all know me. I'll probably tune in. Unless there's a Dodger game, and then I'm probably going to stick with the Dodger game. And my daughter's finishing up the House of Dragons on HBO, so I'll probably watch that with her.
Nice.
And so anyway, but anyway,
I do like Greg's question. What's our gut tonight? Here's my gut, Greg. It's going to be the same you've already seen. Yeah, new lines, new attacks. Trump's going to attack Biden. Biden's going to attack Trump. Convicted felon, Joe, Crooked Joe, Sleepy Joe. So my gut is.
I'm just going to go with the same as last time, when actually Trump's going to come out with fact about the Biden crime family. He's going to probably bring up Hunter, probably bring up the laptop, everything that they said wasn't true actually was true, and he'll confuse Biden. I think that's what it's going to do. He'll get Biden on his heels pretty easily, and that's all expected. I mean, Trump's a prize fighter, man. He loves to fight. Biden does not like to fight. He loves to fight.
Was it business? Was it you said it's like wrestling? That's what tonight is. Trump used to work at the WWE. Trump knows the television game and knows how to play it. That's how it is. But I mean, I would say at the moment, the debate is inconsequential because I think Trump's got the momentum despite the convictions.
Oh, the convictions are not voting wise. The convictions are nothing. Zero.
Especially because every time you go to the grocery store, you're looking at these prices and you're like, what planet am I on? Like Costco, like how did I spend $400? I have 5 things in my cart.
I'll pull the video. A kid did. He's shopped at Walmart for like 4 years, something like that. And he said, I just found this function that says, buy it again or something. Like you buy the exact same order. He goes, this was from 2 years ago. And he goes, 2 years ago, it was $120. And he goes, that's basically a month of food for me because I live alone. He goes, today, scroll down, $404. Same exact items.
Dang.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'll try to find that video for tomorrow. We'll work that out. All right. Gang.
That's Trump's win tonight. If Trump just talks about that all night, Biden, you screwed it up. My friends are paying $9 for Tic Tacs. Can you believe it? A Tic Tac.
I invented Tic Tacs. Okay. I invented Tic Tacs. A penny a piece when I invented them. Sleepy Joe, $9.
Oh, my goodness. But
you guys are amazing.
I'm still optimistic because of that, Mike, because you guys are here with us. So spread the optimism because we're going to solve this thing together. Yeah. Mike, you, me, Mom, I see you in here. What's up?
What's up, Ma? All right. We got to get out of here, though. Let's time restraints and all that kind of things. All right. Hey, guys, remember, like this stuff, share it out. Let everybody know what we're doing every day at noon right here in Russell and Hunter's In Other News. We'll see you tomorrow at noon, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Appreciate y'all being here.